Oh, he's not dead. And now I want to be. No, it's a joke, but in all seriousness, right? Like, that was fun while it lasted, right? Like, I still do think that everything we were saying is like how it's probably gonna go down. I guess it's just not right now. So I'm gonna go sulk for the rest of the day.
Finding out Trump was alive is akin to what? Fill in the blank in the comments. What was it like knowing that after all these days of speculation and hope and living on a prayer, that man trotted his old ass out to the podium and talked about whatever, Rocket City and all that shit? It was so deflating. I mean, is it like you're getting ready, it's Christmas morning, you're getting ready to open presents to realize that there are no presents, there's no Christmas music, there's no Christmas breakfast, just such an utter letdown.
Who else big disappointed?
I watched the press conference. Update, he's alive. He doesn't seem to be any worse off than he was previously. He's still, spewing out word salad the same way he has been since 2016. Speech pattern still feels like watching a dementia patient sundown on live TV, because it is a dementia patient sundowning on live TV. Doesn't appear to have visible stroke face. He's not on a ventilator. He's not in a wheelchair. The only difference I noticed between this and other press conferences I've watched is that it felt a lot like he was having his inner circle doing most of the talking for him and only talking when he had to.
Family, during the weekend there were rumors that President Trump was no more. And fam, there were hilarious reactions online where Americans were so happy about that fact that was not yet confirmed. The other day, Donald Trump came on publicly for the first time in like a week, and people were actually disappointed. Americans have taken it to their TikTok, Instagram, and other social media platforms to just show how they were disappointed. Family, in this video, you'll see a series of white folks, which many people do not expect. A series of white people just disappointed that Donald Trump is actually alive and kicking. So fam, I want you to watch this series of videos that I want to post. Once they are done, we will get back and do a critical analysis about the same. Family, in a special way, I also want to thank my subscribers who are taking their time to support me through buying me a coffee. I do not take your support for granted, family. The link is on the description box down below. Let us watch this video, family. Once it's done, we'll be back.
So it looks like Trump is alive after all, but I definitely think that there's something major going on with him that they're not telling us about.
Does this look like President Trump to you?
He looks ill. He looks like there's something going on with his jaws or something like that.
What about that dent over the forehead?
Well, what I found weird was that he did no press conferences for 6 days up until today.
And came out looking like this. The White House posted this picture. And the problem with it is the internet realized that this photo was doctored in some way because you see the mirror in the background. It's not reflecting who's actually on the staircase.
Oh.
I just find it odd that the media started reporting on his health. He's declining. Then he disappears. And right before he disappears, JD Vance comes out and says, I just want to let everybody know that I am prepared to assume the responsibility of presidency if Trump falls gravely ill.
Does your celebrity blind have some sort of...
So what's really weird is that 3 weeks ago, a Celebrity Blind's website, Crazy Days and Nights, posted this. The CEO who knows everything about everyone and will control the world one day.
That's Peter Thiel.
Peter Thiel told the celebrity CEO, that's Elon Musk, that the second in charge, JD Vance, will soon be the president of the United States, A++ lister.
I do think he has been dealing with health issues. Trump has been showing this like notable dragging of the right leg, which apparently is a sign of a stroke. And then they're talking about the bruise in the hand. And then he can't walk straight. There's a video of him not being able to walk straight. And then they're also talking about how the medications he's taken is potentially a sign that he has been dealing with this issue. So yeah, maybe there's a body double over the weekend, or maybe he's just actually recovering from a legitimate stroke.
Finding out Trump was alive is akin to what? Fill in the blank in the comments. What was it like knowing that after all these days of speculation and hope and living on a prayer, that man trotted his old ass out to the podium and talked about whatever, Rocket City and all that shit? It was so deflating. I mean, is it like you're getting ready, it's Christmas morning, you're getting ready to open presents to realize that there are no presents, there's no Christmas music, there's no Christmas breakfast, just such an utter letdown. So what in your life can you compare that to? That seeing Donald Trump, knowing he is alive, I don't know if well is the right word, but knowing that he is still functional and still president of the United States after we were filled with so much hope core over the last few days. What did it feel like to you? Let me know in the comments, because I've got to know what people are feeling and thinking today.
Well, guys, he's alive, spreading the same lies and disinformation as always. And this was his answer when asked what he thought about the rumors that were spread during the weekend.
How did you find out over the weekend that you were dead? You see that?
No.
People didn't see it for a couple days. 1.3 million user engagements as of Saturday morning about your demise.
Really? I didn't see that. You know, I have heard, it's sort of crazy, but last week I did numerous news conferences, all successful. They went very well, like this is going very well. And then I didn't do any for 2 days, and they said, there must be something wrong with him. Biden wouldn't do them for months. You wouldn't see him. And nobody ever said there was ever anything wrong with him, and we know he wasn't in the greatest of shape. No, I heard that. I get reports.
So, did he hear the reports or not? Because he starts answering the question saying that he had not heard about it. But yeah, apparently there's Trump for a while.
So apparently there were rumors going around over the weekend that our president, Donald Trump, was no longer with us. I don't know where those started or why, but here is Tim Walz, who was running to be our vice president. This is what he said about the rumors, a little bit disappointed that they were not true.
You get up in the morning and you doom scroll through things, and although I will say this, the last few days you woke up thinking there might be news. Just saying. Just saying. There will be news sometime. Just so you know, there will be news.
You want to know why, as a country, we are so divided? To the point where you have actual families that aren't talking anymore. Family members are not talking to each other anymore over politics. It's stuff like this. And obviously, I could give you hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of examples, but these are how our leaders talk about each other. It's stuff like this. And here I am defending Donald Trump again. This was not even supposed to be a defend Donald Trump type of video, but it's hard not to think about it. Even when people that he politically opposes gets hurt or something tragic happens or something bad happens, he is always the first to give his condolences and define. Anyway, I was rudely interrupted. Yeah, it's fun to bash, it's fun to make fun of people, but whenever it gets real, he is the first to be proper about things, and I think it's okay to have a little bit. But to actually make jokes about someone's passing, especially in light of all of these recent events going on, it's in my opinion, very, very bad pace. And you as a leader should be setting the tone for the rest of the country. And this is not a tone, in my opinion, to be setting.
So it looks like he's alive. But a couple things from this press conference. One, his hand is like painted white. You know how he had that really brutal bruise? One of his hands is like drastically whiter than the other. It's like kind of insane looking. I kept trying to get a screenshot of it, but he was like kind of not moving it and like keeping it below the chyron like his other hand was moving. This hand was down. So I feel like that's, you know, I'm not trying to be some body language expert, but I think that's pretty clear, right? He's trying to hide the hand. The other thing that I noticed that was kind of funny is his hair. Now, like, you know, his hair is always crazy, right? But the comb over in the back is what I was noticing, and I did get a screenshot of this, so it's up on the screen. You know, I could sit here and speculate. My initial response is like that he's been in bed, but you know, like they can dress the guy up. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. He just looks slumpy, slumpier than he normally does. And then the other thing I'll say is, everyone was talking about the moving Space Force from Alabama, or Colorado to Alabama, sorry. That was like the purpose of this whole thing. And they talk about that, multiple people up on stage from Alabama. It's like very Alabama-centric, right? Tommy Tuberville, colossal stack of shit, spoke, I think, probably for the longest. And then he gets up and he starts talking, and he says essentially, great, we've got this done. Are you guys going to stop calling me about it? Are you going to stop asking me about it? I don't want to talk about this anymore. And I'm not even kidding when I say about 7 seconds he did that shtick before pivoting to talking about some boat full of drugs that they found. And he eventually went back to kind of talking about the Space Force thing. But it was just so funny to me. This guy cannot stay on subject. I mean, everyone in the room is there to talk about Alabama, right? And he's like, by the way, here's the thing I actually want to talk about because it just happened, and that's where my memory is and my attention span, and I'm a child. And he's seriously, like, just off talking about a drug boat. He's such a fucking mess. Anyway, looks like Trump is alive. I would not say alive and well. I would just say alive.
With absolute sadness that I report that President Donald Trump has been found at his Mar-a-Lago home. It appears that he was next to his golf clubs. There was a drink next to his seat. There were some documents that he had written on, but I'm really sad to report that he's alive and fine. And I just felt like it was really important to let you guys know that he's still around, even though we haven't seen him for the last 5 days on the red carpet. So, yeah, I'll let you guys know if anything changes, but for now, that's the news. I hope that you stay tuned for my next update.
Behold, the festering carcass of American rot, shoved into an ill-fitting suit. The sleaze of a con man, the cowardice of a draft dodger, the gluttony of a parasite, the racism of a Klansman, the sexism of a back alley creep, the ignorance of a bar stool drunk, and the greed of a hedge fund ghoul, all spray-painted orange and paraded like a prize hog at a county fair. Not a president, not even a man, just the diseased distillation of everything this country swears it isn't, but has always been. Arrogance, dressed up as exceptionalism, stupidity, passed off as common sense, cruelty, sold as toughness, greed, exalted as ambition, and corruption, worshipped like the gospel. It is America's shadow made flesh, a rotting pumpkin idol that proves that when a nation kneels before money, power, and spite, it doesn't just lose its soul. It shits out this bloated obscenity and calls it a leader.
So I'm just going to say this because I can. Anybody that's like disappointed that Donald Trump isn't dead. Okay, cool. Very cool, you guys. Very cool. If I ever had any inkling, smidgen of a thought of maybe I am backing the wrong person. Maybe I need to take a look at other things. Really see them, right? This shit, this behavior really helped me. So thank you. Thank you so much. Not that I ever questioned myself or my beliefs in God, in the military, in faith, in our home, in our country. But the way that people are reacting, even like on videos of him, they're like, oh, man, maybe next time. Or like, what was a couple comments I saw? It had quite a few likes. What did it say? Oh, but wait a minute, guys, what if he's actually okay? It's like, ugh. I couldn't stand Biden. I thought he was a horrible president. And then when I found out he was sick, he's a human first. And I prayed for him. And I have prayed for him since then. I hope he gets better for his family, for his children, for friends, because it's like the human thing to do. Never wish for him to die. Yeah, I said it. I know. We're supposed to say unaliving, but I'm grown. You guys know what it means. If that triggers you, well, I don't care. Okay? But yeah, you're gross. You're gross. And if you're someone I know and you did this, yeah. Doesn't mean I hate you or I'm never going to talk to you again, but your behavior is disgusting. Yeah. And I don't respect it. Okay, cool. Bye.
I watched the press conference. Update, he's alive. He doesn't seem to be any worse off than he was previously. He's still, spewing out word salad the same way he has been since 2016. Speech pattern still feels like watching a dementia patient sundown on live TV because it is a dementia patient sundowning on live TV. Doesn't appear to have visible stroke face. He's not on a ventilator. He's not in a wheelchair. The only difference I noticed between this and other press conferences I've watched is that it felt a lot like he was having his inner circle doing most of the talking for him and only talking when he had to. Which could be indicative of something, it could also be nothing. The weirdest part about this press conference is it could have been an email. It could have just been a bulletin on the White House billboard. But because this White House is entirely full of people who are so self-important that they need to make everything a production, they turned this into a meeting. They turned this into a full press conference when it's something we already knew was going to happen, and it isn't really changing how we're going about our day-to-day. It's hardly news. I think the real reason that they turned this into a press conference instead of just a bulletin on the White House website is because they wanted to provide some verifiable proof of health for Donald Trump to the public. There's really not that much more to this story, just business as usual from this point forward.
Family, this may come as a joke, but it can teach you how Americans are disappointed by the presidency of Donald Trump. When you were keen on the internet during the weekend, you'd notice how many Americans were happy about this unconfirmed fact that President Trump was no more. Many people celebrated. Many folks took it to their internet to just say how much happy they were, because that just shows us how many Americans are not, I'd say, happy with the presidency of Donald J. Trump. The weirdest thing is the fact that most of the people in celebration and across the internet, from my research, most of them are actually white folk. White people are amongst the majority of the MAGAs who actually voted in Donald Trump as the President of the United States of America for the second term. A lot of these same people refused to vote for Kamala Harris because of her skin color, against a person, who's white. They chose whiteness over good leadership. And right now, family, we are seeing the backlash that Donald Trump is getting. We are seeing how many Americans were happy when these news came out, as rumors online. And family, this just can teach Donald Trump and Americans at large that people are actually tired. The cost of living is very, very high right now in America, and Americans are tired. Majority of Americans are actually very, very happy. A few days later, Donald Trump came publicly on a press conference, and he was able to talk about how Americans were happy after they saw he hasn't been online, for those days. He also gave an example of Joe Biden, saying that Joe Biden was one person who went silent even for a month. He was so surprised seeing that Americans would actually be happy of his disappearance in a record week, because they are used to him on the press conference each and every time talking, and giving out his views that actually come each and every day. So when he said that, he voiced his disappointment on Americans actually passing through such a rumor. But family, at the same time, he should actually think why Americans voiced their happiness in this time that many attempts would come with sadness. He should actually ask himself questions why Americans have been happy. And this is now where we are going with this video. Most Americans are not happy with the cost of living. Most Americans are not happy with the cuts in major sectors like Medicare and Medicaid. That would cost Americans money, from their pocket. When you talk about cuts in FEMA and Medicare and Medicaid and an increase, in funding in ICE programs, Americans are just showing their disappointment in such ventures. And that is the message that Donald Trump should get from these hilarious reactions of Americans being so happy in a time that people should actually showcase a lot of sadness and mourning. It was sad for Donald Trump having to see how Americans celebrated, but at the same time, it's a wake-up call to him to stop with the fascist ideologies, to listen to his people, because at the end of the day, the power is in the people. People are voicing happiness and disappointment after noticing, that he's actually alive. When they were rumored that he was no more, a lot of Americans were actually very happy. This should be a learning curve to the president for him to change his ways. The power, once again, is in the people. Whatever people voice is the actual thing that should be done, Because family, when you look at the situation right now in America, it's crazy. Many people are choosing to be homeless. Many folks cannot be able to afford rent right now in America. Homelessness is the next big thing in America right now. People would rather sleep in tents. People would rather sleep in their car parking lots, than having to rent a home. They'd rather sleep in their cars because the cost of living is skyrocketing each and every day. And that is why many Americans voiced happiness when they heard that he was no more. At the same time, the very same Americans took to their social media platforms to just showcase disappointment after noticing that he was alive and kicking. This should be a learning curve to America. This should be a learning curve to the ruling class to be able to even sit down. Even Trump's advisors, they should be able to sit down. The people who get intelligence for him should tell him the truth, that whatever is happening is people are voicing disappointment with his leadership. And that is a fact right now in America from whatever we've seen since the weekend till today. Just Americans voicing what they feel, what they genuinely feel of the president. They were ready, for whatever news would come up. People who are waiting for an update in news, but whatever they wanted updated wasn't. We all know what many Americans wanted. It didn't come to pass. But this should be a lesson to the government, to the president himself, to his advisors, and to his people who are very close to him, including the intelligence team, which should gather intelligence and tell him the real truth on the ground. Family, let me know in the comment section down below what you think about this video and the reaction of Americans in this time of rumor. Do you think that was nice, or do you think it's something that is unacceptable? Guys, like this video so that it can be recommended to other YouTube users, and I'd be very grateful. Lastly, I'd highly appreciate if you all took your time to subscribe to the channel. We are currently on the road to 50,000 subscribers, and guys, I'd really appreciate if you all took your time to subscribe to the channel, man. Share the video with your friends and family, like it, comment, and I'd highly appreciate. Thank you so much, and see you all in our next episode. Goodbye for now.